is Tolulope Bitola. My guest today is Tolulope as well, and is popularly or fondly called Tolulope Soji, and he will be joining me from London, the United Kingdom. Today we'll be talking about fathers. We'll be talking about the place, the role of fathers in the family, expectations, responsibilities, and how they can be appreciated more, how they can be honored more, because we know fathers, they do a lot. We do not take them for granted. And we'll be bringing on my guests now so that we won't have to waste so much time on that. Thank you, Tolu.
Hello.
It's such a delight to have you here.
Thank you very much, Tolulope.
Thank you.
I feel very honored to be here. I feel very happy.
Yeah, I'm also humbled, like have all your schedules set aside to be here today. I appreciate you so much, and I can't wait to start the conversation with you. Okay, before we go into the conversation proper, would you like to say anything to our viewers, our friends?
Yeah, I first and foremost would like to thank you very much, Tolu, for this initiative. I love this platform because, you know, one thing that is a continuum in life is learning. The day you stop learning, you stop dying. Sorry, you start dying. You start dying. So, and the best thing you can do for yourself is to make sure that you keep yourself abreast of information and innovations that can help you become a better person, and in the end, you know, impact your world. So, and I have to thank you especially for what you're doing. You know, you're blessing lives, you're touching people from all walks of life, and then you're well appreciated for that. Of course, I want to thank all our viewers from all over the world that have set out time this evening, this morning, or this afternoon, whatever the time is, from wherever you're watching, to be part of this meeting or this session. I really want to appreciate you and thank you all.
Thank you. Now let's quickly go into the business. Let's hit the ground running. I want to ask that, how long have you been into this business of fatherhood?
Thank you very much. I think I became a father about 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yes, I became a father, and that question quickly brings to mind the excitement I felt the day I became a father. You know, yes, I was quite excited because I waited for it, and the day my wife delivered of a baby boy, you know, my joy knew no bound. I was quite excited, and I couldn't hide it. I remember I was in the store, you know, they have a mini mart in the hospital where my wife delivered. And he took one of the nurses who came down to get Coca-Cola from the shop, said, "Oh, are you not the gentleman that your wife is in the labor ward?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Wow, you have a son already." And I went down on my knees. I was so happy. I was so excited. And, you know, I started thanking God, and I ran. They gave the child to me, and you needed to see the joy of a father. It's something that every man will look forward to. So I've been a father for about 10 years now.
10 years is not a joke.
Yeah.
So, many 10 years in Nigeria now, already in the secondary school, school. So that means, you had good stuff there. So I also want to go back to what you said about being told that your wife delivered a baby boy.
A baby boy.
Excited. Would it have changed if it was a baby girl?
Oh no. Now I have to, Tolu, I have to be honest with you. Prior to the time I got married, I've always had a notion that male children are better than female children. You know, but when I started having children, you know, I had my first child, like I said, 10 years ago. And then, you know, for reasons of Nigeria situation, the next child came about 5 years after. And he happens to be a baby girl. I had already told my wife we're going to have 4 boys. because I said I needed 4 boys that can manage my conglomerate. I needed 4 boys that can manage my several outfits, man this, man that. Yeah. But God showed me something different when my wife delivered of a baby girl 5 years ago. So the two of them started growing together. Now, the first thing I noticed is, now as I speak to you, I'm in my living room. My son can be in his room with the TV or with the cartoons or with the Legos or anything, and I can be in this living room for 10 hours and he won't come down to even say that hi. But you will see my daughter coming intermittently. Dad, are you okay? How is everything? Do you need a cup of water? So, it changed my perception of what a female child is. They tend to be more caring. They tend to look after you more. So, and I said, God, I think I'm changing my mind. And God, as God will have it, when my wife had the 3rd one recently, it came also as a baby girl. Okay. so now it's ratio 2 to 1, and I tell you, I have to be honest, I'm very happy and excited to be a father of 2 girls and 1 boy.
That's very good.
Yeah.
We want a soul. You are not part of those that always believe that it's either a boy or a boy. Yeah.
No.
What a boy can do, a girl can do better.
A girl can do better.
Yeah. Thank you. I thought you would object, but so that you agree with me. So before I go to the next question, I quickly want to ask our viewers to please share this video, to like, to love, to leave your comments, leave your questions, and we will do our best to attend to as many questions that we can. Whatever is your concern or whatever issues that we raised there that you think you want to contribute to, or you have a thought towards it, kindly leave your comments in the section. Leave, react, share, and invite your friends to join us on this session. I want to say thank you to Onoja Ahoma. Thank you, Audio Omenai. I wanted to say Audio. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Okay. So now let's go back to the business. So now I want to ask that you growing up, what are the values? So now, because we're going to be talking about fathers, and before we can actually go deeply into you being a father yourself, your own growing up, what are the values that you learned or that were imbibed into you by your father that you think that there are things that you are now passing on to your own kids or to the kids?
All right, thank you very much. Talking about values that I learned from my parents, or do you mean my dad or my parents?
Okay, let's.
We need to.
Okay, now let's make it parents. Then, if you want to narrow it into,
narrow it down.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Now, I would like to say that for a child, everything starts and ends with parenting. For a child, I want you to underline my words. Everything starts and ends with parenting. Yeah, because I tell you the truth, the end result of parenting is societal values. The end result of parenting is societal value. Now, if you see a child that is doing well in the society, that child stems from a family or from a parent, as it were. Okay. And if you see a child that is doing badly in the society, that child also stems from a family or a parent. So, and that's what informed my statement. Everything starts and ends with parenting. And now I'd like us to also understand, Tolu, that parenting is about setting foundations or laying foundations. So if you're going to build a skyscraper, I'm not an engineer, but I've had to be involved in buildings. So if you're going to build a skyscraper, for instance, you agree with me that the depth of the foundation is going to be different from the depth you are going to need as foundation if you are building a bungalow. So what you intend to see in your children in the end will be determined by the level of foundation you are willing to lay. So you cannot divorce values from foundation being laid by parents. So, and then I'll just quickly want to talk about the values that I got personally from my parents. Number one, my dad especially understood the concept of relationship. And that it transferred into me. You know, just very recently, my wife was having a conversation with somebody and she said to that person, if it has to be with keeping up with relationship, give it to my husband. And Tolu, I tell you the truth, I learned that from my dad. You know, it readily comes back to mind when I was in the primary school. Not just me, we are 5, I'm 4 out of a family of 5. And I can tell you for a fact that every one of us, my dad has one-on-one relationship with all our teachers. My dad will come to my school at least once or twice in a week. Yes. So it was that of a very cordial relationship between all my teachers. As a matter of fact, it got to a time that my friends used to think that my dad was a teacher. No, he wasn't, but he was building a relationship, not just with my teachers, but with everyone, because eventually your network will determine your net worth. Yes. So if you can understand that concept, that the more good people you have in your life, the easier it becomes for you to get to your destination. Yes. Of course, you can climb a story building. You can ascend to a story building in several ways. You can decide to jump to get up to a story building, and you can decide to go through the stairs. But I tell you, going through the stairs is easier than you jumping to get to the top of a story. Yeah, you can be, I just to paint a scenario of how rigorous and laborious it can be. But having a relationship with people is like you having staircase to ascend to a story building. And that is one of the concepts my dad introduced to me and is working magic for me today. Of course, he also introduced the concept of discipline. My dad will always, I can remember very vividly that in our family, we are kings and we are queens. We don't talk anyhow. We don't act anyhow. As a matter of fact, I grew up to meet my dad that anytime he wears native, he must wear a cap. And one day I asked him, I said, Dad, why do you normally wear a cap when you're dressed in your native attire? He said, because a king doesn't go out without a cap. So he portrays himself as a king, and he wants us to become as prince or princes and princesses as his children. So same with my mom. So that culture of discipline was imbibed into us. And I dare to say to all our viewers this evening, Tolu, that do you know that one of the shortcomings of our society today is that people are not willing to be disciplined. People don't want to go the hard way. They just want to have a quick fix, 2 minutes, Indomie noodles. You know what I mean? So they just want it now. They don't want to go through the process. And I've said it times and over again, Tolu, and I want to say it again to this meeting, that any child that discipline is about following a set of rules and order. I hope you agree with me. Discipline is about setting or agreeing to a set of rules, orders, and laws. So, and I've said that if you hate laws, you will end low. If you hate rules, you cannot be a ruler. And if you detest order, you will end up under.
You hate rules, you cannot be a ruler.
Yes. If you hate law, trust me, you will end up low. If you do not appreciate others, you will end up under. So when you see a man that is doing well in the society, you need to go back home to check the kind of values that were imbibed into such child. And values of discipline, values of relational, understanding relationship. You cannot divorce it. So just because of our time, I want to stop there.
That's a very good one, and so pleased to hear that. Okay, thank you. I'm so I'm glad to hear those values that you just mentioned about talking about relationship, talking about discipline. And like someone would say that one currency that can never go out of fashion,
circulation,
is relationship, building good relationship. Even if you are out of money, if you have good relationship, you would see that is the currency that will go far for you. Money is not everything. Building good relationship. It is one thing to know. This also extends to even places of work. It is one thing to know your job. It is another thing to have good relationship with that job. If knowing the job takes you there, having good relationship will take you further. Because because you know the job, then you begin to tell everybody off. You have to still build good relationship, and that's a very good thing that we are taking out of that of this.
So before we continue, I just needed to buttress your point. You said relationship is one currency that cannot go out of circulation.
Exactly.
Now, that will be for another time, but there are about 7 currencies that we spend on this planet that we live in. Money, physical cash, is the least of them. So relationship is one of the powerful currencies that we spend here on earth. And I said it a long time ago that there are ships that you can afford to allow to wreck, but not relationship. Not relationship. So we have to keep up with relationship.
We have to do that. However, there's one thing I also still believe in, that as much as we still want to keep up with relationship, we still have to understand if we are on the same page with this person we are keeping up relationship with. If this person is someone that doesn't want to go along with us, or someone that is dragging us down, then we also need to look into that relationship. But that we want our relationship to continue does not mean we should allow it to weigh us down. It's already been an interesting and engaging one today, and I hope our viewers are getting something to take away from here today. Now let's go back to the society. Now you talked about discipline, you talked about building good relationship, you talk about your dad having time to go to your school twice or once in a week. You can imagine. And like that's like 40 years ago. Now let's compare that to this present day. How would you relate that to bringing up a child in this present condition, this present situation, with the economical, with the time? You see that parents have to be at work. There's the time to now visit a teacher today, visit a family today. So how would you compare this raising up a child?
Well, so if I have to be honest with you, we are losing out in those values. We are losing out in those values. And that is going to take me to something very critical. We are supposed to talk about it later, but you realize that parenting in the Western world is not the same thing as parenting in Africa, as it were. Because in this place, what my dad was doing is not something that can be done. You can't just walk into the school, because there are rules that you have to follow. There are guidelines that you have to follow. You can't just go to your ward school, for instance, and say, Mr. So, I want to be your friend, I want to talk to you. No. So and that goes to say that it doesn't have to necessarily be relationship with your children's teachers, but you can now build that relationship with your children. One of the things that the parents of those days, or our own parents, one of the things they didn't get right is that a large number of them didn't really have relationship with us. And I tell you, though we live in the same house, we sleep under the same roof and all, they didn't really have a relationship with us. For instance, I grew up in a family house. And when they are watching TV in the days of NTH and I7 and all those things, in the living room, we had like a lounge, a common room. Once they are there, the adults watching television, you do not have a right to go there.
Why do you want to go there?
Do you understand? And I'll be like, because we also needed information as much as they did then, but I don't know why. Maybe they felt, oh, that is an adult thing, you know, watching TV is an adult thing or something like that. I don't know. So most of the parents then really did not take their time to study their children, to understand the strength of those children and the weaknesses of those children, to know what this child is good at doing and what this other child is also good at doing. Do you understand? So they just did the generic, pay for school fees, you know, buy our shoes, go to our school to befriend our teachers and all those things. So, yeah, and go to church, you know. And because most of us didn't have that deep relationship with our parents, trust me, when we got out of the house, we did certain things that we consider not part of the values of the family, and we couldn't come back home to share them with our parents. Some of us are still hiding some things from our parents up to now because there was no platform for discussion. And that is one of the things we cannot afford in this 21st century parenting. We cannot afford to, you know, take away one-on-one conversation and that cordial relationship with our children. Now, I can, as I'm here, my kids are upstairs, they can come downstairs and then jump on my neck, you know, play together. I couldn't do that with my dad or my mom. I couldn't do that. Yeah, but in the 21st century parenting style, yeah, you can do anything. But of course, you have to then let them know that we have our values, we have our morals, we have things that we hold in high esteem. Tolu, I tell you this very quickly. My children, as young as they are, they will tell you that in this family, they tell people that comes around that in this family, or people that come around rather, in this family, there are certain things we cannot do. My son, for instance, will tell you, in our family, we don't take alcohol.
Like,
he knows. She knows, yeah, that these are values. It doesn't have anything to do with religion. That in our family, we don't smoke. Do you understand? In our family, there is a certain way we comport ourselves. And I tell you, every star has a culture. Every star has a culture. You cannot just afford to throw anything into the society. You must build a family that has cultures, that has values. So, yeah.
Every star has a culture. So there must be a value around you if you want to become a star. It doesn't just
now before we continue, there is somebody that is trending back home in our country now. I'm not going to mention his name. That person is vying for the higher seats in our country. Now you will see that it is family values and cultures that is selling out that man. As we speak now in Nigeria, everybody is shouting the name of the man because I went.
Let's not go there. Because okay, go ahead, please.
I went back to do a very small search about the man, and I saw that he came from a very deep family that has great values for family cultures and values. And now the same man is now coming to the society to give same. So our society have become what it is today because many people did not take out time. It's very stressful. It's laborious to extend family culture. So we don't want to do politics here. So let's leave it at that and just move on. So
let me quickly come in this way that we keep talking about family values. we keep talking about culture. How about kids that there are values in their family? If you look at the family,
Okay.
you see everything it takes to have a good family. But look at the kids, then you'll be wondering, does this child really come from this family? What do you think would have happened in that situation?
All right, Tolu, thank you very much for that. It's very simple. Now, there is difference between you putting your fear in a child and you putting, I want to choose my word, you putting your values in the child. Now, I can tell my child that I'm the lion of the tribe of my house. When daddy is coming, everybody takes cover. Yeah, and I've been able to achieve that because that is what a male figure in Africa represents. But what happens when I'm not there? That child becomes loose, becomes AYA, can do anything. So I'm going to say this. It is better for you to put your values. One of my own values, for instance, is the fear of God. If I achieve my child fearing God than fearing me, I think I've done well for that child. When I'm not there, he still fears God. So, because the child will not always be in my eyes, it will not always be within my environment, it will go out. So when a child goes out, he remembers the family culture. For instance, you are in Canada, I'm in the UK. You know what happens in the Western world. You know what people do in the Western world. You agree with me that some of those things becomes very difficult for you and I, because we are coming from a place that we cannot allow to fall short of the values. And that's why your parents are no longer with you in Canada. My parents are not here with me in London. But there are certain things when we were growing, my dad will always say that if they are fighting somewhere and they are using cutlass, they are breaking bottles, I cannot be perturbed. I can't rush there because I'm sure that my children will not be there. So a father that has not done anything about a child cannot say that. Yes. And trust me, a child you pamper today will tamper with your peace tomorrow. Our parents are peaceful wherever they are today because they did not pamper us. When you are instilling discipline in a child, discipline is going the hard way. It's not easy to instill discipline. You have to be ready to go the hard way. You don't advise. You don't say, if you like, you can do it. If you like, you can. Yeah, it's up to you. Like the Western world culture, it's up to you. You can do it.
That's what you want.
Yeah. Do you understand me? So you have to put your feet down to say this is what is allowed within the confines of our value system, and this is what is not allowed.
Yeah. So thank you for that submission. We have to put our feet down that this is what is allowed and this is what is not allowed. So I also talk about having the fear of God, not just the fear of the parents. So when we are no longer there, when the fathers are not there, the kids know what to do at the right time, not because the father or someone is watching them. Yeah, good. Now let's talk about the roles of a father. Now, because you talked about putting your foot down. So what exactly are we putting our foot down on? What are the roles of a father in the family?
Thank you very much. Religious books have it to say that if you train up a child the way he should go, when he is old, he will not depart from it. One of the things you have to do is you have to be committed to your duty of a trainer as a father. A father or a parent is a trainer. Now, and you agree with me that the duty of training children is an uphill task, is so demanding, because at every point in time, a child wants to go by his mind. A child has a mind of his own, that this is what I want to do, but you have to be there to always guide, to say, no, you can't do that, you can't do that. Oh no, you can't do that, you can't. Imagine what stress you go through in the morning when you are dressing up your kids for school. Tolu, just imagine it. As simple as that is, training starts from that or there. If you leave it to faith that, go and brush your teeth, you'll be fine. You are leaving a 3-year-old child to go and brush his or her teeth, or a 5-year-old child to go and brush. You will end up having that child get into the society, and they will say that child has mouth odor. And I will tell you why. Part of training is that you must be able to tell your child that when you brush your teeth, your tongue is an integral part of that brushing of teeth, and that is what smells. It's training. My dad told me that the only reason why many people have mouth odor is that when they brush their teeth, they don't brush the tongue. And the tongue smells, and it becomes like a routine, and eventually it becomes mouth odor. Do you know that's home training? It's so simple, but it's very important. And that is why, do you know that every time you hear things, when a child misbehaves outside, you hear things like he lacks home training? Have you ever heard anybody saying that misbehaves outside that you lack school training? That's, I'm taking you back. Nobody will tell you that a child lacks school training or church training. That's why he's misbehaving.
His own training.
So, his own training. You need to be vehement, like, excuse me, son, daughter, this is the way we have to be. And it's like a routine. You must not be tired. Because a child wants to do otherwise every time, and you want to say no. By the time you keep at it, for instance, in management accounting that I studied, there is something we call learning curve. And in learning curve, we were made to understand that when a task becomes repetitive, you tend to gain mastery. When a task becomes repetitive, you tend to gain mastery. So this is what it means. The first day you pick your car to drive, or you learn to drive a car, you agree with me that that is not the same way you're driving now. Yeah. Because you have done it times and over. Now you can close your eyes in Winnipeg to drive.
I know, I've not
because because you now do it every day. Yeah. So, you know, I give you an example of one of the things my dad told me. One day I said to my dad, I said, Dad, why are you so hard on us? I said to my mom, why are you so hard on us? And my dad said to me that because we are a family of eagles, we fly. And for a mother eagle to train an eaglet or a baby eagle to soar is a very difficult task. Do you know what my dad told me? He said when an eagle gives birth to its child, it takes the child from the mountain where she delivers and then take the child into the sky, far into the sky on its back. And you know, the child enjoys the cruise, move around. Then all of a sudden, she's just going to take off her back, and the child tends to fall from that high height down to the floor. The child starts to do like this, what's going on, what's going on? And before the child gets to the floor, the mother eagle comes under and picks up the child. Now, training is good. We are going back up. Don't be tired. In our own family, we don't walk on the ground. We don't perch on the street with hen, with chicken. We soar in the sky. So that child, at first, we feel, is this woman difficult? Is she wicked? Is this father wicked? That is the first thing we think of our parents. The kind of rigorous exercises they take us through. But as more and more you do those things, they become part of you. They become part of you. And those are the things that you will need to be able to confront the larger society. Trust me, you will need wisdom. Trust me, you will need discipline. Trust me, you will need self-control. You can't afford to talk anyhow. People will cast aspersion at you. Who is this person? Where is she coming from? So, and all those things will have to happen from the home front.
Yeah, I think it's kind of breaking off somewhere. So now, Having said this, like, are there specific
Mm.
roles that you think a father should take responsibility for in the family? Now, we've talked about
Yes.
instilling discipline, letting the
Mm.
people know that these are the things that they should be to become valuable in the society.
Mm.
What are the other things you think a father should do?
Okay.
The role of a father?
Yeah, so I'm just enumerating them. I've talked about training a child.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about provision. A father is a provider. Now, there is a particular name that God bears. We call him our source and sustainer.
Mhm.
He's a source and he's a sustainer. And that is the same figure God has made a father in the house. Yes. You have to be a source and a sustainer. Of course, I'm not unaware of our 21st century world, how things are going, that, you know, a wife has to support the husband in the home front as far as provision is concerned. But a man must not sit on his words to say, oh, my wife has to, these bills, electricity bill, gas bill, water bill, we have to share it. Okay, me, I will do the rent, you will do water bill, 50-50. All those things, they are not, if you do them,
You don't think
your children are
society that is
watching.
making people do that kind of thing?
Yes, yeah, it's a society,
The
but a
demands.
man has to now strive. A man has to now strive to say, oh, my responsibility as a father is to provide for this home. And trust me, your children are watching you. Your children are watching you. If you are, you know, it got to a time in my family that, as you see me here, my children believe that there's nothing they ask for that I cannot give them. No, let me put it right. There's nothing they ask that I cannot afford.
Yeah, not that you can't give
But
them.
it's not everything that I would give them.
Yeah.
Now, because I have been consistent in my duty of provision as a father, Tolu, I will stop at nothing to make sure that I provide for my family. Trust me. Because one of the things that can easily erode respect and honor for a man is inability to provide for the home front. And I tell you, many of our parents back then suffered from this. Many of them, my dad used to tell me that a woman that your wrapper cannot go round, your mouth cannot go round her. I want you to interpret that in Yoruba, because I don't want to speak Yoruba. Yeah, if you cannot get a wrapper for a woman to go round her, then your mouth cannot go round her. Yes.
So a woman that you cannot
you understand
for,
me?
you cannot say this is
Yes.
what I want you to.
Yes. So you know, you have to trust God, and you have to keep at work to make sure that you provide for your family. Is very, very essential. Yeah.
Okay, yes. So talking about that, I want to quickly chip in this. Like, now we're talking about provision for the family.
Yeah.
I think there are some men that they are doing this so that they will be able to have total control over their wives. Or I'm not talking about
no, they are
submission
mistaken.
now. Not, you know, there's always a difference between submission and what's this thing? It's one thing to be able to submit, it's another thing to be able to obey. So now some men, do you think some men are making all efforts to make provision for their family so that their wife can obey them? Because submission will come willingly. So now I give you this, I give you that, I do this, I do that, and when I tell you to stay here, you have to stay. When I tell you to move, you have to move, because I am the one doing everything that you want. What do you say to that? What's your
all right, now I have to quickly say this. Any man that has that kind of mentality about marriage has missed the dynamics of marriage, or the purpose of marriage. Now, I said it before I got married, that Tolu, what you are going out to look for is your part owner. That's the meaning of partner. If the word partner is a compound word that matches part and owner together. So a person that owns a part of me is my wife. So if I now want to suppress myself, it's not normal. I can't. Are you getting me? I can't suppress myself. Yeah, I can relate with myself. I should not suppress myself. So any man that is suppressing his wife is suppressing himself. Yes, so it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Yes. So my wife is not my subordinate. My wife is my part owner. She's my partner. And that's why in civilized crime, like the Western world, they don't say husband and wife, they say their partner. Yes, it's my partner. So that person owns a part of you, and you have to be able to relate together. Of course, if you provide for a woman and you respect a woman, you will get respect. She will honor you. She will submit to you.
Willingly.
She will submit to you. Trust me, she will
I hope
submit
our
to you.
viewers have been enjoying this conversation just the way I have been doing. Yeah, so they say that respect is not it's what one earns. It's not what you do.
Yeah.
If you earn it, whether you ask for it or not, people will willingly give it to you. Your wife or your husband will willingly give it to you. And I want to say thank you, Tolu, for making this conversation a beautiful one this afternoon. Still in the conversation, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been reacting, who has been watching. I've not been seeing any comment, though. Let's hear your view, people, about this conversation. Do you have a question? Do you have a contribution? Do you have what you would like to say? Please, let's hear your view. And we are happy to thank you for still being here. Now, let's quickly talk about source and sustainer. Okay, we've talked about that. I've asked the question. Source and sustainer does not mean you then begin to control the wife. Now, you've been talking about your dad. And I'm beginning to think about men that their dads were not there for them. Their dads were not able to instill these values that you've been talking about. How do we bring them into being responsible fathers as well? I don't know if you're able to.
All right.
Maybe you have.
Okay. So
that who was there for you? How about people who did not at when they were growing up?
All right. So my response to that is going to be technical, and I want you to pay attention. Now, before I got married, I was asking myself a very sincere question: that what is marriage about? Is marriage all about procreation, and all, or having sexual affection with a lady, or all those things? So I was inspired to look at the concept of marriage from the solar system. This is private to me. This is personal to me. I was personally inspired. Now that the concept of marriage was taken from the solar system, the father as the sun, the mother as the moon, the stars as the children. I want you to follow me. Now you agree with me that the moon does not have a light of its own. Rather, the moon aligns itself in the proportion of the sun during the day, gets some level of light that it comes to shine at night. You also agree with me that during the day when the sun shines, you literally cannot see the stars. It is only at night they come out with their mom. I'm going somewhere. So the moon will always have its children. That means the mother, and that explains, I was also inspired to think that explains why the children are always closer to their mom. Because the stars will always be with the moon. Whilst the sun is leaving UK now, maybe coming down to Australia to also, yes, the sun is with you, leaving us. The sun, we have to leave the responsibility of shedding light to the moon now in the UK for us to have light at night, and then you see the stars coming. Now, to now answer your question, a man that is no longer in the home front, maybe for whatever reason, maybe death or any other reason like that, if you have been able to shine enough light on your moon, which is your wife, trust me, that moon will have enough light to radiate on the stars. Yes. So one of the reasons why you have is very, very is a hard work for the moon, or for the woman, as it were, to be the only one playing the role of a father and a mother. And you come to look at this. Sometimes, maybe when I go out and I'm back and my son has done something wrong, my wife will deliberately leave the child. Say, when your dad comes, I'm going to tell him that this is what you have done. So now, when I come, my presence alone in the house, sometimes you see my son going, Mom, don't tell him, please don't tell him. Now, it's not because I'm going to, yes, it's not because I'm going to kill him, but he knows that I'm not going to spare him. And that takes me to another point, that men are instructors. Men are instructors. You can give instruction in whatever form that best suits you. Now, Tolu, do you know that in the aviation school, they don't have teachers? Neither do they have lecturers.
Yes.
They only have instructors. And you know why? In life, we walk by common sense. When a child is born, after 9 months, that child attempts to start walking. Have you ever seen a child that wants to attempt to walk and goes on his head to be walking on? No, at that point you can't even tell that child. But there is something instinctive and intuitive that will tell that child that in this world, people don't walk with their head on the ground. And that child will not walk moving backwards. It will attempt to move forward. So that is common sense. Again, in life, we run by principles. We run in life by principles. But the most critical part is that we fly by instructions. If you see any high flyer in life, that is a guy or a lady that are taking instructions repeatedly. In the aviation school, you don't need to like the face of the button. But for you to fly a plane, you have to press the button. So they instruct you, do this, yes, do this, and you do it, you get the results. But of course, you have to be sure that you are giving the right instructions. Yes. Recently, I saw a video trending on Facebook of a mother giving beer to a child. That child was I don't know if you see that post. The boy was drinking beer with the mother, and then they were. Now, you're already giving an instruction. It's simple. You know, in our today's world, we have parents that wants to tell children what to do that they are not doing. What you tell a child is not as important as what the child sees you do. So if you have said that in our family, for instance, we don't smoke, you need to convince that child that what you are saying is true. Yeah. So, and now if it's now the female alone that is there, it doesn't matter that, it doesn't mean that that child or those children cannot still end up well, but it just means that it's going to take more hard work to be able to do it. But with the help of God and you saying that, oh, this is what we are going to do, the child
is making, I don't understand though. Is it now UK network? It's like that's your network there is not it's not standard. You're just waiting.
Are you sure? No.
Okay.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it is. Thank you. Thank you. It could even be from my hand. I was just joking.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's to every man out there. It doesn't. A father doesn't have to be there before we know our responsibilities. Just as Tolu had said, if the way we want our child to go, when we are there or we are not there, we should start working on it so that life happens. Nothing will happen to any of us, but life happens. So when we are not there, we are able to say, okay, to the extent that I've worked, I know my child, I know my wife, I know my family, know my values. They know what I stand for and how they will train my kids. Thank you so much for that. And I want to now go back to having talked about fathers being an instructor, being a trainer, being a provider, doing all that. How then do other members of the family come in to help these things come to pass, to make it an all-round successful family? Because the father cannot be doing everything, doing that, doing this, and the other members of the family are not helping matters. It will even be very frustrating. So how do other members of the family come in to make it a successful family?
Good. Now, one of the things I have deliberately engaged myself in over the years, I can say since this marriage was instituted, is that I try as much as possible that myself and my wife are on the same page as it concerns parenting. I can't remember any time I've done that my wife is saying something to my children. Of course, I know she will always tell them what is right. And I will come back, whether for whatever sentiment, to say, no, don't do what your mom is saying, no. So, and she will not do that to me. So anytime, sometimes she will be talking to my son or my daughter and say, oh, you have done this, no, you can't do that, this, and I will reinforce it. I'll say, no, you need to listen to your mom, what she's telling you, the correct thing. And that way, you are both on the same page. Those children will see that you are not always divided. And they will know that once you are speaking with one voice, that means that is what we are expected to do. And they grow up. I used to tell my son, I say, now, young man, you are growing up now, you're almost 10. You need to start doing things that your younger ones can now emulate. You need to be, because you spend more of your time. Sometimes I'm at work. Sometimes your mom is at work, or maybe I'm at home, I'm having a program, you two will be together. Always do things that are exemplary, that are worthy of emulation, such that your younger ones will see it and say, oh, you are setting the pace for us. So it's very, very critical. You are so you have to, so that way everybody is on the same page, and then, we are sure of what we are going to get out there to the larger society.
Okay, so that's one thing. When the father says the mother support, when the mother says the father support, and the kids, what's their own responsibility?
Yes. the responsibility of the kids is to make sure that they trust their parents enough. If you can trust me to provide for you, if you can trust me to clothe you, if you can trust me to provide shelter for you, you should be able to trust me that whatever I'm telling you is right. Yeah, I can't mislead you.
Yeah, thank you. Now,
and go on.
So sorry.
So, and in parenting, in this 21st century, you cannot, you can't afford to rely on your head knowledge alone to do parenting in the 21st century. You have to read up. You have to. I was asleep this morning, and my son walked into my bedroom. I was asleep. The moment I heard his voice from far away where I was, I opened my ears, and he started talking to the mom. He said, "Mom, do you know that some thing is like this with me? It's like this." Immediately he finished that conversation. To be sure that boy knows what he's saying, I picked my phone and I went straight on Google. And believe you me, Tolu, what that boy was saying was 100% correct. And this is something I've never heard before. I'm sure my wife hasn't heard it, but it was coming from him. My wife said, "Where did you hear that?" He said, "From the TV." And I think that relates to me. So now I've made up my mind that I will now go to do further. I couldn't even wait to pray before I did the search this morning. That goes to tell you that in parenting, you have to come up to their level. Things are changing. If you use parenting style of 1980 or 1970 for children of 2022, you'll be wrong.
So we have
Yeah.
to praise up. We have to learn, continue to
Yes.
learn.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, now let's talk
Mm.
about being a father in the Western world and being one who has been one in Nigeria. Is there something
Yeah.
that you think that can be emulated? Like, is there something that we can learn from the Western world, from Nigeria,
Mhm.
or what you think it's not really working here, that we should just hold back to what we have in Nigeria? Is there a comparison?
All right. Yeah. There are just in very quick words, there are pros and there are cons to it.
Mhm.
Now, in the Western world, there are parental values that you can borrow, but you can't, trust me, you can't take to be honest, you can't take everything. And from the African setting, there are parental cultures that you can also still borrow now. You can't totally throw everything away. But look at the situation. Recently, I was having a conversation with my daughter, and she said to me, "Dad, don't be silly." You are familiar with that, right? You are familiar with that? Yeah. She said, "Dad, don't be silly. Dad, don't be naughty." Now, yeah, it's a normal thing here.
Like,
It's just normal for a child to tell you. As a matter of fact, sometimes it sounds like a compliment. In the office, maybe you're trying to get a favor from somebody, and that person is willing to do it, and she feels like, "Oh, why are you worried about asking me?" So, "Oh no, Tolu, don't be silly. I'll do it for you." It's like a normal thing.
Like it's a case of language, maybe.
Yes. Do you understand? But back home, how can I open my mouth to tell my dad, "Dad, don't be silly"? Can you imagine that? Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you have to be able to strike a balance, and this is what I mean. When she said that to me, I said, "Daughter, you are not allowed to say that. We are Africans.
Mhm.
I know that is what you hear,
Yeah.
but you can talk to me in another way. You can express your emotions in another way.
Mhm.
You can't tell me, don't be silly. You can't say that to me." And she said, "Oh, Daddy, okay. Now, there are other things that they do that we don't do. In most civilized climes, like where we are and where you are, you see that knitting, that relationship between children and parents. Of course, I can't remember my dad taking me for vacation. I can't remember any.
I think maybe it's a matter of finance.
No. But trust me, vacation doesn't have to be like you moving from Canada to Australia or from Australia to Dubai. You can do vacation within, you can just say, "Oh, we are going out, we are just going to away from the normal hustling and bustling. We just want to have a family time." I was not privileged to have one, but here is normal. Every year we have to plan a vacation.
Every summer,
we have to go.
You're going out somewhere.
You know, vacation. Yes. So that is one of the things, and that strengthens bond. That way, your child can open up to you to tell you deep things. Do you know that if you don't do that, if you do or go by our old parenting style back home in Nigeria, many things will go wrong with your children, and you will not even know. I give you an example. Here in England or in the UK, a child that is 16 years, a female child of 16 years, can do abortion legally without you knowing.
Yeah, and they won't tell the parents.
They don't. GDPR. Yeah. You have to protect her data. That is her data. She has a right to walk in to the GP and says, "I want to have an abortion." And they will do it without consulting you, and they will even keep it away from you.
Yeah.
Because that is her right. As young as 16 years. Now, that should tell you something, that if you are not close to these children, the society they live in has bestowed a lot of rights
to them.
So you need to come up to tell them, "Oh, when they talk, you listen. You don't just chastise them, shut them up, send them away. You need to listen to them. You need to give them that that audience, you need to be welcoming, such that when they have issues bothering them, they can open up to you and talk to you like your friend.
Yeah. To buttress your points now, I was reading a book by Selena. I can't remember her last name now. I think the title was Can You Hear Me Now? She was once a parliament member in Canada. And I think her origin was from the Caribbean. Is it Jamaica? From the Caribbean, I can't really remember. So you see, all these things that you just mentioned now were the things that she was brought up with. The parents, especially the mother, you dare not do this, you dare not do that, and this and that. And this was a very brilliant lady. You needed to see a lot of things that she now got engaged into, because in the family they brought everything from home. Like the way this is how we do from it, and that is what they wanted. And this is another girl growing up with another girls in school. She couldn't talk with her parents to the extent that she even went for abortion. Her parents did not know. And it's not that she was just, I think she just found her part again. She would have just been one of many crowds that just missed it in this coming to this place. So I think just like just about it, as parents, as much as we want to imbibe this African style setting, we should also leave a space for, this is an environment where a lot of things happen. Talking about 16-year-old and conversation, there was a time I was involved in health sector here. Like when you want to talk with this client, you do not, even if the mother is there, the mother is saying, I'm the mother, and this, she was coming from school or this, I have to call you back to speak with her. I can't speak with you unless she tells me, okay, Tolu, speak with my mother. I give you the permission to speak with my mother. If not, so a lot of things are happening. And I want to say thank you for bringing that out again. That we should always be involved and give them space and things like that. Thank you, Tolu. Now, coming back to provision, being the father that provides, I want to ask you this simple question. Have you in any way found yourself in a position where you were not able to provide for the family? Have you been in any situation where you were incapacitated to do what you were expected to do as a father? That's between you and the question.
Yes, thank you very much, Tolu. You see, it all boils down again to the way things have gone in our country back home. Many parents now have sincere intention to provide, but they are incapacitated. I think about 2013, thereabouts, I was still in Nigeria at the time. I lost my job, and you know that if you lose a job in Nigeria, you have to, in fact, you will need an anointing service
to get another
you will, yes, to get another one. Since I came into the UK, I've done nothing less than 10 to 15 jobs, different jobs. Yes. Sometimes I turn down job offers. I tell them no. Because they will ask you for availability. No, I'm not available to do. That is the way it is here. But back home, in our own climb, you see parents struggling to pick up jobs after they have lost one, and things that they used to be able to do, they cannot do again within that period that they lost their job. You know, it can be very, and this is why I want us to, men should be honored more in our society, because they have so many things going on with them that they can't even share with you as family members, because it's going to depress you. They have to come up to be able to, just shoulder the responsibility of fatherhood and make sure that things still work, even when it looks like things are not working. It was a real struggle. It was a real struggle. Those days, we can go to maybe a shop, and my son will see something, wants to pick it. I say, oh, you can't pick it, son. Yeah, I'll feel bad, but I can't help it. You understand me? So, and that happened to my dad too when we were much younger. My mom had to push us into hawking. It's an abuse, but we didn't see it as one then, because that is the only way. I remember some of my friends, I have some of them in London, in England with me here. it was vacation period, and we normally do the holiday coaching. And I had gone to hawk. I used to hawk bread. And I was coming from the hawking expedition, and I ran into them, about 4 or 5 of them. And the moment they saw me, they were shocked, because the kind of values I have portrayed in school, you cannot trace me to, like, maybe we are poor, or maybe, you know, so they didn't believe me. They were tapping one another, say, is that Tolu? So I was really, really ashamed. I have to be honest with you. I felt really ashamed of myself. And, you know, when I got home, I told my mom, I said, my friends now have seen me that I hawk. That mom, at that time, I think I was in SS2. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, this is not something I want to do again. Oh, and she said, now you are preparing for your WAEC. If you have a choice, is either you stop hawking,
or you don't do WAEC.
And you stop hawking and you go to your friends' parents to pay for your WAEC, or you continue to hawk and then we are able to pay for your WAEC.
Jeez.
So at that point, I knew that it was not in view that I was going to stop hawking. So I devised a means. I will now, when I'm coming back, I will go very early, around 6 a.m. When everywhere is still dark. When I'm coming back, I will get a bako bag and I put the leftover bread in the bag, and I will hold my tray. I will put the oshuka, I will put it in the bag. And when you see me, you think maybe mom just sent me on an errand somewhere and I'm coming back. You know, it was that bad. My dad was not happy about it, but he couldn't help it, because at that point, he was not gainfully employed. So, and this can be the situation of many children now, or many parents rather, that they really have good intentions to provide, but the wherewithal is not there. That does not make them less of a good father or a good mother. You only need to keep praying for your parents and encourage them in your own little way to say, oh, Dad, things will get better soon. Don't worry. Things will get better soon. So that's just it.
Thank you. So whatever situation it is, just know that things will get better soon. And as kids as well, we should also encourage our parents, especially the fathers. You see, when my son gets something, sometimes say, Mommy, thank you, Mommy, thank you. He got some a pair of shoes like sometime last week. Only if you knew that it was the daddy that said, thank you to daddy. It was daddy that, but because it was mommy that said thank you. So every time it's mommy. Thank you so much. So the fathers are doing so much, and we want to appreciate them again and again. So it's been a very interesting and learning period with you this afternoon on my hand. And before we go, I want to quickly ask you, there's this thing that has always been in my head. I want to ask you your own view about. There was this girl that was online a few months or weeks ago. One child from a school whose video went viral online, and everybody was like, the mother has failed, the mother has done this, and I kept wondering, where's the father in all of this? It was only the mother's picture that was everywhere on the internet. Where does the girl not have a father? If she does not have a father, I'm sure there would be someone like a father figure, but where is the father? Why does it have to be the mother to be blamed when things are not working well with the child? But if it were girl had an award, had a scholarship, did this, you see the family picture everywhere. What do you have to say to that? Naming the mother for everything.
So thank you very much. It again boils down to our culture. It's a cultural thing. It's an African thing. It's not peculiar to the West. That when a child does well, the father gets the glory. When a child goes otherwise, the mother gets the blame. It has always been like that. But having said that, I also really do not totally conform to that school of thought. If a child has messed up in the society, then the first point of call should even be the father. Yes, and that is why you cannot afford to fall short of your expectation as or expectation of fatherhood as a father in the house, because once you fall short, it can cost your whole generation. If a man falls short of his responsibilities as a father, it can cost you your generation. Now, again, I have to go religious. Do you notice that it was Eve who ate the fruit first and thereafter introduced Adam to it? But when God came for an appraiser,
he called her down.
The first, yes, the memo went to the man. God is all-knowing. He knew it was Eve who initiated or orchestrated the action, but God didn't reckon with Eve because, like I said, as part of my opening, statement, everything starts and ends with the man in the home. So yeah, so God knew that the responsibility of parenting lies more with the man. So, and of course, maybe we need to say this more to be able to, get the society to know that you don't always have to blame a woman when a child misbehaves in the society. You should go back to the drawing board. What went wrong? Somebody must have defaulted. Somebody must have gone, falling short somewhere of parental value. It could be the mother, it could be the father, but you cannot totally blame the mother for it. No,
it cannot just be the mother, because they're like, where was the mother? And I at a point,
the father, you mean to say?
Yeah, where was the father? At a point, I now began to think that, what if it was even the mother that was going out to bring the daily bread and doing this? Because as of then, they said the mother traveled and they couldn't reach her and things like that. What if it was even the mother that was doing a lot of the duties that the man should have done, and now you're not blaming her for everything? So I think we need to do better in that regard, that it doesn't always have to, we don't not always have to blame the mothers. This responsibility is all of us. It's the father, the mother, the society, and you as an adult. You see a child going the wrong way and you just look away, it will definitely come back to you, because you don't know if that child will now be friends with your own daughter or your own and then it bounces back to you. So I think we need to do better, we need to do more. And I want to say that we've eventually come to the end, because if we keep asking questions, one thing to the other, there's the aspect of career, career, but we've gone past the time. So
totally. But before I let you go, I would like to say this.
Yeah.
I haven't said what I just said. I also want our mothers to do more. In the sense that sometimes in the home front, you see that women, because of maybe what they had to go through to bring forth a child,
they want to pamper.
You see that, yes, women tends to pamper children more, or tend to be weak when it borders on their children more. You understand what I mean? So we must come up, and that's one of the things, it was Olumide Emmanuel who said that when you allow a woman to push you as a man, the time that you need to discipline the child, she will not discipline the child. She will say, oh yeah, go and meet your daddy to beat you. Go. Now, the time that the child is doing something wrong, you are the man that will still shout on the child, stop that, this, that, give values. The day that child grows up, he will now see you as being wicked if God does not help you.
Let us go there.
When you say, okay, don't worry, Shebi, I'm in Canada now, I won't bring you for vacation. So that's why you see that mommies, they are the ones that come for vacation more. Because the women will push us for our children to now see us as bad, being bad, and then they now enjoy. How many men do you see going for Mugo? So it's our collective responsibility.
How many babies can you carry as men? How many babies can you
we can carry? We can carry. I'm carrying one now. so God will help us. So yeah, our women should do more. Let us talk with the same voice. Let us carry it with the same weight. Yes, energy, and then the children will be the better for you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that part. Like when it's everything that sometimes my husband will do that. Now you want to make me feel like I'm the I say villain person in this family now. it's me that will say this, it's me that will say that, it's me that will, and the child will be like, mommy will pamper me and daddy is wicked. No, but we just know that is that daddy can. We will do our best, but we are learning. Thank you. We will do more, just as you said. We will make the energy.
Thank you very much.
As you are throwing the energy, we are catching it as well. We will do very
well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So and I want
thank you very much for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm so happy. I'm humbled to have you. And I want to say that I've known Tolu for how many years?
About 2 decades now. Yeah. About almost 20 years, if not more.
Over 20 years.
Yes, over 20 years
now. And
we grew up together, literally.
Yes, so we know the stories, but we are grateful how far we've been, how far we've come. We are really grateful to God.
Tolu, and you agree with me that we are still talking together now because we had it right in parenting from our parents.
I know, Mama Shoji.
Those days. Now, one of my very good childhood friends is also watching us. Her name is Adiola Akapo. You know, we know our kids. The parents that are doing well with parenting, the children of those parents that are good, even in the neighborhood, you will know. They will say, are you befriending Shoji's child? Are you trying to befriend Akapo's child? Are you befriending Akinshola's? We know ourselves. So when your parents are doing well, it helps you in the society for people to view you well. And people want to identify with you. So Lu, agree with me, not everybody in GPA you are still contacting today. No. Yes. So we have to give that back to good parental values.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why this is even holding to say thank you to our fathers, thank you to our mothers who have instilled that values in us to stand out even in the midst of so many compromises, in the midst of so many challenges, and things are calling you to just tear away. We are grateful for those what will I call it? Values.
Values. Yeah.
Say thank you. How do you think we can appreciate you more? We can appreciate the fathers more in the society. Appreciate it. Say
how to appreciate. How do you want to appreciate? By loving us more.
Hey, you like
love us more, yes. Love us more. Show us more love.
Like love.
No, we also want to feel loved. Yeah, men, we also want to feel loved. So when we do anything, when we go out and we are back, show us that you appreciate all the efforts. Sometimes it's not easy, trust me. It's not easy at all. You know, you need to see the kind of things some men will have to do to bring home. I give you now, I'm taking time, 1 minute. Before I left Nigeria, I used to do all age. And one night, you know, my truck was coming from Suleja to come and discharge in a place called Kuje in Abuja. And that truck, you know, sank into like, what do you call it? A muddy sand. And it couldn't move again. And I had to see to it that you know, product was delivered to the client.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, I went out with my family. I was just coming back when the driver called me. So I drove my family, everybody to the scene. And we couldn't leave that scene until about 1:30, 2 a.m.
Midnight.
And my son kept asking me, Daddy, what are we doing in this forest? What are we doing here? I said, this is where the money, comes from. This is how I work. And my son said, oh, Dad, you are really doing a good job. So we need to, sometimes we go out, we don't come back home to tell you what we face. There are insults we take from the workplace that normally, if we were single, we would not take. But when you remember that
I have a
there are bills to, you just take them in good faith and then you move on. So we cannot afford to come back home and then
emotional, please.
I'm
beginning to feel emotional. We say thank you to daddies. We know you are doing well, and we want to appreciate you over and over again. We pray that your efforts will not be a waste over your wife,
Amen.
Your families, your words. over everyone who has seen you as a father. It doesn't have to be biological, but because you stand as a father in one's life, we say thank you to you. And to people who are coming up to be fathers, I hope you've gained a lot here that you'll be working with. Thank you. I'm lost for words now.
Well, you're welcome, Tolu. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for having me. We have taken about an hour and a half now.
An hour and a half. I was saying 1 hour.
Yeah, thank you.
Now I think the conversation ended and we began to talk like we're just talking to each other.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so
very
much. My regards to the family. Thank you to your wonderful
I will.
wife for having you spare this time with me today. Thank you, because I know today is the only free day and you have to
yes.
Thank you. And to all our viewers, thank you for staying true. We appreciate you. I want to say that you share, you love, you react, you ask your questions, and I hope to see you in the next edition of Between You and Me coming up in 2 weeks time. I'll keep you posted on the information till I come your way again. My name is Tolulope Soji. Bye for now. Thank you, Tolu. Bye.
Bye.